Welcome to the kickoff of our 2020-21 Symposium series. My name is Sonia Foltz, and I serve as the CEO for Adopt a Class. We are so glad you could join us and look forward to a great morning together. We've planned an interactive session where you will hear from guest speakers, meet team members from other corporate and civic partners, and see lessons and experiences you can do in your classroom. We invite you to use the chat feature as you are now to introduce yourself, reactions that are at the bottom of your screen, and other features during our time together. Rachel Gosney, AAC's Marketing and Communications Manager, will be our technical support throughout the session. Thank you, Rachel. If you haven't turned on your video and are able to, this might be a good time to do that because we will be doing some interactive lessons together. I want to give a special thanks to Frisch's as our fall symposium sponsor, our speakers, and to all of you who have given your time this morning to prepare for another great year of mentoring. I would be remiss if not taking time to thank the AAC staff as well. What an amazing group of individuals who worked so hard to positively impact the lives of so many Greater Cincinnati students. This is the opportunity you can try out those reaction buttons and give them a virtual round of applause and thumbs up. Thanks to each of you today for making this be a great day with all of us together to prepare for a great school year. While we certainly miss being in the same room together, we want to still give you the opportunity to connect with one another just as we would introduce ourselves if we were around tables. We're going to send you off now to do just that in breakout rooms. If you've never participated in a Zoom call with breakout rooms, you will soon receive a prompt to join a room. Click that button and you'll be virtually transported to your small group where you can take a moment to introduce yourself, share what team you represent, what school you serve, and what you are excited about this year. We'll give you a few minutes to introduce yourselves, and then you will get another prompt to leave the breakout room, and you will rejoin the entire group for our first speaker.
I'm Kate Mccann. I'm the Senior Education and Relationship Manager with Adopt a Class, and I am thrilled to be able to introduce Karen Zimmer. For the past 6 years, Karen has worked with Beach Acres School-Based Program. In that capacity, she helps students and families in need at Euler School by connecting them with the necessary resources they need, such as housing, wellness, mental health, and personal empowerment. She has worked as a social worker for over 25 years in many different capacities. As a parent herself, she says she has a passion for helping families succeed. So Karen, welcome.
Good morning. Thanks, Kate. How are you?
Great. Everybody's doing really well.
So I wanted to see if everybody, we at Beach Acres, we're being very mindful and have very mindful moments. So I just wanted to share this with all of you, and it's very helpful during the day. So it says, we know your family is stressed for many different reasons. Today, set an intention to practice self-control with a few mindful breaths every hour. Breathe in through your nose and blow out through your mouth 3 times. Are you exhaling, telling things will get better? Like when you exhale, you tell yourself things will get better. So that's my intention for all of you this morning. So we can just move forward in these crazy times. So what I thought I'd do is I have like 3 little steps that I wanted to talk to you about when I'm dealing with families through this COVID and how I'm helping parents and children both kind of cope. So some of the points that we've been seeing are simple things that we take for granted since COVID. So we have parents that are losing their jobs because we have children that are staying home and doing schoolwork at home, and parents, we have single parents that can't do both. We're seeing parents having to help educate their children, which is another thing. And we're also seeing the mental health, anxiety and stress, how it's affecting our families. So I kind of base it by, we sit there and we say, let's take our temperature. So like now it's normal. Like when you say you're testing the waters, you're taking the temperature of the room or family that you're working with or children, we literally have to take our temperatures everywhere we go. Walking into school, take your temperature. So it's kind of asking the simple questions of, where are you? How are you feeling? And listen, like listening back and answering truthfully. So I've been telling my parents, when children ask questions, we're telling them to, it's age appropriate, but answer them truthfully. They need to be, they need to understand what the situation is, how to keep themselves safe. So they need those basic questions too. And be mindful of the information that they're getting, because it's constantly on screens and things like that. We were also in our breakout room, we were talking about like screen time. And a lot of our parents, our kids are on the screens now for school, like all day. And we talk about, like, the pediatricians say, limit screen time, we shouldn't be on the screen this long. Well, the kids are on the screens for school. Do they get screen time for fun? How do we manipulate that? So it's like reevaluating those things that are pretty like, they were pretty normal for all of us. Talking to our kids about, being very mindful of the temperature of what's going on in the school system. If, like, Cincinnati Public, we're not back to school yet, but there are kids that are going back to school and they're in school. So, give them the tools and education to understand, because education's power, like, so they know to wash your hands, keep your mask, social distancing. Why do we do these things? So those are like kind of the points that we're seeing, but I think with me, mine is more the stress of the parents that I'm seeing so much. Because we have to, I've been doing more mindful and mental health with the parents, because we have to let them be okay so they can help with the kids. This is affected, and the pandemic has affected in so many different ways. But what I'm actually helping most of my families with is that simple basic needs and life things that, like, we kind of take for granted, like housing, laundry, electricity, internet. Like, I've had to get so many families internet because they can't do school if they don't have internet. So those are the things that, and so it's just having those conversations. I tell my families all the time when I talk to them, they'll go, "Oh, I'm fine." And I call that the F word, because fine doesn't describe anything. It's, I'm doing okay today. I'm a little bit anxious, like testing those waters with our families and really kind of bridging that gap too, because teachers are feeling the same way. So parents and teachers together, working to get the kids the education that they need, because teachers are under a lot of stress as well. So just, if you guys have any questions, I can take questions, but those are the things that we're seeing most. And I think what's the most important is that just being very mindful and listening, and like understanding where the families are coming from, and then trying to help in the best way we can.
I would just say thank you, Karen. All of this will become so important when you're working with your teachers and your students in your mentoring, and understanding what the families are facing at this time, and also knowing that these resources do exist within the buildings. So talking to the teachers specifically about what resources might be there to support both the students that you're working with and the teachers and parents.
And also Beach Acres has blogs, and we always put information out. We have articles about all the screen time, different things to do during the pandemic with your kids. So that's a really good resource too.
Thanks, Karen. Will you add that to the chat?
Sure.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Kate.
Yeah, so Karen, I actually just had a quick question for you. You guys haven't been back for long in terms of really interacting with the kids, but what are you noticing sort of specifically as far as how the kids have been sort of handling all of this? I know we sort of as adults always say kids are so resilient and they'll be fine, right? That it hasn't really maybe impacted their world the same way it has ours, but what are you seeing?
We're seeing a lot more of the kids being very anxious. It's anxiety, and we're like talking to parents and things about social emotional development, because like I even have little children know now not to, like most little kids would run up and hug. They're like, nope, can't, I'm going to get you sick. Like they know certain things, and that's so like that social physical interaction that they normally do, they're not doing it. And they're pretty much kind of doing that social distancing themselves as a 3 or 4 year old.
Yeah.
Kind of, you don't really see that about boundaries. Like little kids learn boundaries later, and they've got clear boundaries. Just simple things like that. And a lot of kids are struggling online. You have online learners, that is great, but there are kids that really need that one-on-one, or like that social interaction in the classroom to learn. So you have different learners. So parents are getting frustrated. We have children that are on IEPs that are getting that kind of, but it's not the same as being in school. And so I have a lot of parents like, I can't teach him. I don't know. And I always say to the parents, you set the intention for the day, or you set the way the day is going to go. If you are really, because they feed off of your interactions. So I always tell the parents to kind of just check themselves. We all have anxiety and some kind of stress from this pandemic. The trauma responses are huge because of all the different things, and they're all different for all of us. But it's that really being intentional and telling the truth and having those hard conversations, and being that person who said, like I've had that conversation. I'm like, I'm really anxious about this. Are you anxious about this? There's open-ended questions of just sitting down and saying, this scares me, and being human with the kids, because then they can feel, and then they can navigate it more. I think they just think it's weird. Like that, some of the kids just go, it's just weird. I don't know, because they're not understanding the whole full picture. And they just say, I just want to come back to school. I want to see my friends. So I think that's where that comes into play, is that us adults have to be that person to say, let's ask those questions. Let's see where they are, and gear that. And it's hard sometimes being on screen. Like we have teachers talking to us and giving us information that they're getting from the screen, but not seeing a child physically. It's kind of hard too.
Okay. Karen, thank you very much for your time and your insight. We really appreciate that. We are going to transition to something a little bit different that I actually think will be quite useful to all of you, right? In this virtual environment, sort of trying to figure out some engaging lessons can be a little bit tricky. Very shortly, you all will be able to access our virtual curriculum, which will be up on our website. And what you'll see is that we have sort of created all of these lessons that are quite easy for you all to be able to do in this sort of a manner, right, that require little to no materials. One of the things that we've included in there is a list of recommended books for you all to share with the kiddos, especially for this pre-K through second grade crowd, right? Attention spans can be a little bit tricky, right? Doing a 1 hour Zoom call with a bunch of preschoolers is probably not super feasible, okay? So one of the things that we have suggested is to do read-alouds for the kids. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate for you guys now. The book that I've chosen is quite short, pretty simple. One of the things that you definitely want to keep in mind when you're choosing a book is the age. level of the kids that you're talking to, right? And you want to make sure that you're choosing a book that is age appropriate. You want to make sure it's relatable to the kids. When you choose your book, and you are certainly welcome to choose whatever book speaks to you all and you all just really love and want to share with the kids, that's fine. But what I would recommend is that you definitely preview it ahead of time. You want to make sure you're familiar with, any tricky words that pop up. You want to make sure that you have read enough of it to be able to anticipate any questions from the kids ahead of time. Couple of key things, because you are not in person with the kids, right? And because it just looks quite different, you want to make sure that you are reading with expression. You want to make sure that you're not reading too fast, but you also don't want to be too slow, right? There's kind of that line there. Definitely make sure that you show the pictures. That's something that doesn't change whether you're virtual or in person. Those kids need to see the pictures, right? And there will always be somebody who can't see the pictures. So definitely make sure that you are cognizant and aware of that. A couple of things also, when you sort of introduce the book to the kids, okay? You can do what we call, sort of in the early childhood realm, a picture walk through the book, right? So that would be this. You would show the kiddos the book. So this is the book that we're reading today. It's called We Are All Wonders, okay? And you would say to the kids, like, let's take a look at the cover illustration here. What do you think this book might be about, right? You can do a picture walk through the book. Okay, take a look at all of the illustrations throughout the book. Ask the kids to make predictions, right? So they can really start thinking about, what it is that they will be experiencing, or what this book could be about. So the kids may look at this and say, oh, it looks like he's wearing a helmet. I bet this book is about outer space, right? This is a great opportunity to talk to the kids about what an author does and what an illustrator does, right? Ask them if they know. Start to gather some information from the kids. What does the author do? Oh, the author is the person who writes the words. How about the illustrator? That's the person who does the picture. You can let them know that sometimes it's one and the same, right? When you're opening the book initially for the first time, right, talk with the kids about, they put usually a little synopsis here. And when you guys get a little bit older and you are better with reading, right, you'll be able to go into the library, open it up and say, does that sound like something that I want to read? Maybe, right? Do I want to put it back on the shelf and choose something else? So my point to telling you all that before we sort of get started is doing something as simple as reading a book can really wind up being much more involved, right? Because there's just so much that you can talk about. You do want to make sure that you are ready and prepared to define any challenging words in the book, which is why we suggest that you definitely preview it. And after you read it, you want to make sure that you leave some time at the end so that the kids are able to discuss, their favorite parts about the story, maybe the parts they didn't like so much. Definitely some illustrations that stood out to them, right? You want to make sure you have that time to do a little bit of a deeper dive. Now, with that said, sometimes you just want to read a book, right? And that's okay. Sometimes you can just read a book and it doesn't have to be this big thing, right? But if you choose a book that's got a topic, that's something you really want to cover with the kids, like kindness or bullying or something along those lines, right? It's always good to sort of have a follow-up discussion about it. One of the other things that we recommend, especially for little ones, right, is that you read through it twice. So the first time you're going to read through the book, the kids are just going to be super excited to hear the story and see the illustrations, right? The second go around, prior to you reading it the second time, right, you can say to the kids, hey, this time I really want you to be paying close attention to how the main character is feeling in the book. Or I want you to look and pay attention to how the illustrator drew the pictures, right, to convey maybe how the kids are feeling in the book. Okay, so give them what it is that you want them to be listening to that second time around to help you really guide the discussion. Okay, all right, so we are going to get started. This book is called We're All Wonders. Talk to them about the cover page. You can say, oh, this is written and illustrated by R.J. Palacios. So this is a great example of somebody who can draw the pictures and write the words, right? I know I'm not an ordinary kid. Sure, I do ordinary things. I ride a bike, I eat ice cream, I play ball. I just don't look ordinary. I don't look like other kids. So if you're reading this a second time around, right, this is a great opportunity to stop and say, why do you think Augie, his name is Augie, why do you think he thinks he doesn't look like the other kids, right? What do you notice about these kids in his class here versus how Augie looks, right? You may have the kids say, wow, you know, it looks like his hair is shorter. Something we notice, it looks like he only has one eye. Well, nobody else on this page only has one eye, right? So you'll start to sort of get some of those comments. The kids will start to notice the differences. My mom says I'm unique. She says I'm a wonder. My dog Daisy agrees. But some people don't see that I'm a wonder. All they see is how different I look. Sometimes they stare at me. They point or laugh. They even say mean things behind my back. But I can hear them. Right? So you can say to the kids, how does that feel if somebody does that to you? How does it feel if you hear somebody say something really stinky and mean about you, right? What do you notice about the way that the illustrator and the author in this case did the pictures here? Why do you think this little girl up here is covering her eyes, right? Why are there frowns? Why are they looking at him in such a strange way, right? It hurts my feelings. It hurts Daisy's feelings too. So if you're reading through this the second time around, ask the kids, how do you know that Augie's feelings are hurt here? If you didn't have the words here, how would you be able to tell looking at the picture that his feelings are hurt, right? You can say, oh, it looks like the illustrator drew him with his head down. It looks like Daisy's sad, the bird too. You can talk to them about the pictures. Does it look like Augie lives in the city or does it look like he lives maybe out in the country? Is this in the morning or is this in the evening, right? Take a look at the illustrations. When that happens, I put on my helmet. I put Daisy's helmet on too, and then we blast off, up, 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 up through the clouds. It's a great illustration here, right? You can say to the kids, hey, if you pop a helmet on at your house, do you really blast off, or do you think Augie might just be using his imagination here, right? Across the galaxy, all the way to Pluto. We say hello to old friends. So you can say to the kids, wow, look at these aliens on Pluto here. What do you notice about them? What do you notice about Augie, right? Looks like they look the same because in his imagination, they do look the same as him, right? From far away, the Earth looks so small. I can't see any people, but I know they're there. Billions of people, people of all different colors, people who walk and talk differently, people who look different like me. The Earth is big enough for all kinds of people. I know I can't change the way I look, but maybe, just maybe, people can change the way they see. If they do, they'll see that I'm a wonder. So what do we notice here, right? He's kind of turning around. It looks like maybe this little boy has kind of changed the way that he's thinking about Augie, right? Looks like maybe he wants to play, offering up the ball to him. They'll see that they're wonders too. We're all wonders. You can see how happy they look, right? Gonna play with each other after all. We're all not so different, right? Look with kindness and you will always find wonder. Okay. So, oh, it is a great book. I'm glad you said that, Ruby. It is a really, really good book. I hope you guys have actually seen the movie too. It's a really phenomenal movie. So clearly when you're doing that the first time around, you're not going to have quite as much discussion, right? Because the kids are going to be quite impatient with that. You're just going to want to read the story, make sure you show them the pictures, right? They just want to just hear it the first time. read it through the second time. You can do a little bit of a deeper dive into the book itself. You can answer some of those questions, really go a little bit slower the second time around, right? The point being that it is something that you can make a little more educational, right? You can kind of feed the learning into that without the kids really knowing that they're doing some hardcore learning there. Talk about some predictions in the book. Talk about how the characters in the book are feeling, right? See if you can relate it to how the kids are feeling sometimes. You can ask those really great follow-up questions. Have you guys ever felt this way? How did you handle that? You know, even the preschool through second grade crowd will have really good answers for all of that, okay? So what we are going to do right now is we are going to head into some breakout rooms, probably about 5 to 7 minutes or so. Rachel's going to pop up some key questions for you guys to guide your discussion as we enter the breakout rooms. And you guys can go ahead and talk about how you can use these read-alouds to sort of, you know, guide your lesson and your instruction for the kids for the day. You can also do, you know, sort of the book at the beginning and a follow-up activity. This doesn't need to be your only activity, but if it is, what we want you to know at Adopt a Class is that's okay, right? And I think we've done a pretty good job of letting all of our teams know this. Our main goal is that you guys are maintaining that connection with the kids, and if that is something as simple as reading a book, that's an A-okay thing to do. Okay, so we are going to snap you guys into your breakout rooms. So if you're ready, if everybody wants to get their hands up and snap, this is a great thing to do with the kids to kind of keep it interactive and fun, okay? And we'll see you in a minute.
It's fun to watch everyone be transported back into our main session together. I hope your breakout group was as good as mine. We had some awesome conversations, Kate, on using puppetry as we tell stories and engaging students with puppets and doing a shared read where maybe 2 of the team members have the book and they go back and forth by characters to do a shared read. So lots of great ideas. If your teams came up with great ideas in your breakout sessions, feel free to share them in the chat.
So, you know what, Sonia, one of the things that was just brought up by Amber at concert is the notion of doing these recorded read-alouds too, which is fantastic, right? If you guys really knock it out of the park, you want to record it and send that link to your classroom teacher so she can use it frequently, that is such a good idea as well. So Sonia's right, if you have some good ideas, pop them in the chat there as well for everyone to be able to benefit from.
And you might notice as everyone's coming back that this first session is really focusing on literacy. This year we'll be theming our lessons by quarters, and this first quarter will be a literacy-based quarter. So the presentations you'll see today are literacy-based. Many of the lessons that we'll send you in the Adopter newsletter will be literacy-based. Certainly, if your teams want to continue with some of the lessons you've used historically that aren't literacy based, you can do that, but we're really trying to provide you that level of support so that if your team wants us to give you exactly what to do, we provided that. And the first quarter again will be literacy, the second quarter will be STEM lessons, and the third quarter will be employability skills and life skills. So we're excited to provide that curriculum to you, and it'll again be coming out as your newsletter comes out and follow up to this training.
The one comment in there about keeping it engaging by being silly and fun, right? This is your opportunity as adults to really be able to do that, right? Because the kids will actually really love it. Okay, so it's a great opportunity for you guys to sort of break out of what your normal traditional day-to-day demeanor is like when we're all sitting in these Zoom meetings, right? And really be able to engage and have fun with the kids. So as I said, even something as simple as a read aloud can really bring about some really fun things to do with the kiddos that will be engaging and impactful, which is sort of the most important part, right? So we are going to move on now to Zanik, who is our school relationship manager, who will be demonstrating another really awesome lesson with you guys that I think you'll love, that is so perfectly age appropriate, again, for the age range that you all serve in pre-K through second grade. So Zanik.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Zanik Alson-Betts, the Program Manager of School Relationships, and I'm going to go over a lesson with you that will be fun and engaging for any pre-K to 2 classroom. This activity is going to focus on age level appropriate children's literature in a unique way that you can relate to. The time for this activity, it could take you about 10 minutes, but it could take a little longer if students have difficulty guessing the title of the book. Before teaching the lesson, I think it's very important that you download the file and make sure you can access the file and that it's working appropriately. And also, it's also a good idea to share the file with your teacher, just so she knows exactly what you're going to be doing, and she can either jump in and assist you anytime during the lesson. Okay, is everyone ready? So you can show me a thumbs up if you have an answer, or put the answer in the chat, okay? So I know that everyone likes emojis. I know I like emojis, right? And let's see how many of these you can guess. This is a children's book Emoji Pictionary. So you're going to guess the title of the book by using the emojis, okay? So show me a thumbs up when you have an answer, and then we'll do the first few examples together, okay? Are you ready? All right, so we have the color green, and we have eggs, and then we have a pig. A pig, what does the pig represent? The pig could either be bacon or pig makes ham. What do you think?
It looks like Katie and Tim had their thumbs up.
Katie?
Green eggs and ham.
Green eggs and ham. Great job. Ding, 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 ding. Next slide, please. So we have this caterpillar, and this caterpillar is going to eat all of this food. What is the title of that book? Caterpillar, and he's going to eat lots of food. Any guesses?
I saw Eric's hand up.
Eric, what did you guess?
The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Yay! Ding, 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 ding. Next slide. Oh, wow. We have a cat, and then a hat. Cat and hat. What's the title of that book, Bethany?
Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat. Yay! Ding, 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 ding. Number 4, we have a rainbow, and then we have a fish. Rainbow and a fish. What's that? Let's see. Any ideas? No one in the chat? Meredith.
It's like red fish, blue fish.
Close.
I don't remember the title.
Marianne said rainbow fish. Yes. Great job, Marianne. Okay. We have clouds, cloudy, and then we have rain. When you have an umbrella, there's a chance of what? Rain. And then what do we put in our spaghetti? Any parents on here? There's a book, and it was also a movie. You can give the kids a hint. It was also a movie. Let's see.
Sounds like Amy might know it.
Who?
Amy.
Amy?
Or Ruby.
Yeah. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Yes. Great job. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. So we have 3 little pigs and a wolf. 3 little pigs and a wolf. Any ideas? Someone's typing. That's 3 little pigs. Thank you, Ruby. Ding, ding,
This is a great game.
ding. And number 7, we have a mouse and a cookie. Yes, Marianne, if you give a mouse a cookie. Yes, great job, Ruby and Sean. And then this one, we have a train going down the track up a mountain. What do you think? One of my favorites. Harley, yes, the little engine that could. And the last page, we have the answer key. So it's a great idea to go through the slides again and just have all the kids repeat the titles of the book just to make sure they understand and know the titles of the book. And it exposes them to other children's literature that they may haven't, been exposed to. So this is a fun activity. It's quick and engaging. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions?
Can we get a copy of that?
Absolutely. It's going to be on our website, and you can always email me and I can send you a copy as well. I'll put my email in the chat.
I'm not so technically savvy, so making something like that, I don't know how to do that. I can draw a picture.
Yeah, but email me and I will send it to you, but it's also going to be available on our website.
Perfect. Thank you.
And so now we're going to just go into our breakout rooms, and there will be 2 questions that we can discuss, and we'll meet back shortly.
And again, if you had any great ideas come out of that session, feel free to put them in the chat. And special thanks to Zanique for preparing the lesson, but certainly anything else that you talked about that has to do with that lesson or other ways you plan to engage students, don't hesitate to put it in the chat so that we can all learn from your discussions.
One suggestion that Bethany came up with is when the students have difficulty, maybe you can like blank out the title of the book and add an extra slide so that the students can just see the picture of the book, because you have a lot of visual learners, and that'll kind of help the students remember the title of the book. So I thought that was a great suggestion.
Oh, and I love the suggestion that Katie just put in to have students create their own clues for a favorite book and then guess one another's clues. That's a great follow-up.
Hey, are we all back in together?
I believe so.
All right. So I am ridiculously excited about this next part. We have a pretty awesome keynote speaker for you all to hear from. I am super thrilled to introduce him, Rafael Farar. He started his career with Johnson & Johnson in 2004 as a senior recruiting specialist for J&J Talent Acquisition. He's been the recipient of numerous awards, including a Johnson & Johnson National African American Leadership Council Leadership Award in recognition of his support of diversity activities at J&J. Rafael was the guest speaker during our Ethicon team's on-site field trip where they hosted 2 4th grade classrooms from Lincoln Heights Elementary and Princeton School District. They were quite the energetic, wiggly bunch, and he did a phenomenal job getting the students pumped up for what they were about to experience as they toured the awesome Ethicon facility. So welcome, Rafael.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Kate, so happy that this day has come. I'm happy I was able to dial in and listen to a lot of the programming that you guys have prepared for this year, and the books. I really like all the engagement that you're preparing for the participants. Again, I want to just thank the organization for allowing me to have the opportunity to speak to you today. As Kate mentioned, my name is Rafael Farar. I'm a HR business leader for the Midwest, Northeast cluster for Johnson & Johnson. Been with J&J for about 16 years in a variety of HR talent-related roles. And it's been a great opportunity to do some great things for Johnson & Johnson. I had the opportunity, as she said, to engage students from the adopted class from over the last couple of years, but last year in particular, I was able to do the welcome address in our gym with the kids. I had a great time doing it. I find the interaction with young people just another great vacation or field trip for us as corporate employees that, you know, we do the mundane work Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, but that hour that you get to take that field trip, to step away from the work, and especially now in this virtual space, it's going to also benefit us just like it's going to benefit the children. A little bit about me. I was about 6 years old when my eldest sister was tragically killed by a drunk driver. She actually saved my life, sacrificing her own. This happened directly across the street from the house that we were living in, and my mom couldn't bear living and looking out the window and reliving that tragic experience. So from there, we moved to Winton Terrace. And Winton Terrace is, if not familiar with the area, one of Cincinnati's toughest neighborhoods. It's, you know, high crime, and you have shooting and all kinds of things going on in that community. But in my mind back then, you know, we lived a normal life. In the late 70s and early 80s, you know, we rode our bikes, we played Atari, and did all the cool things that you would do back then. To be honest, we didn't even know we were poor, but we certainly were. My parents worked extremely hard and to make sure that we had food on our table. Maybe not what we wanted, but certainly what we needed, something to eat. We were on food stamps and public assistance and lived in subsidized housing. Uh, and sometimes we didn't even have electric, where we ran extension cords to our neighbor's house to have lights or use candles to do our homework. Um, from all accounts, you never knew something was going on when we showed up in school. But it was programs like this that made the difference. It gave me the opportunity to see the possibilities. I was able to participate in junior achievement and other adult volunteer programs that allowed me to learn about different careers and see a number of positive influence through these interactions. I was able to go to Wanda Hills High School, where I continued to fuel my education and ultimate ticket out the hood. I remember telling people that I did not live in Winton Terrace. I pretended I lived in College Hill, because as not to be ridiculed for living in the projects. The area of Winton Terrace that I lived in have long been demolished, and there's nothing there but memories. I committed myself that my children would never have to experience the things that I experienced growing up, but taught them that they had to work hard and nothing is given to them. For several years, I've had a great opportunity to continue working with children, from coaching AAU basketball, mentoring kids through the YMCA Black and Latino Achievers Program, our youth ministry at church, and just to name just a handful of things that I've had the opportunity to do. One of the things that you would be, and I love the tagline, to be a spark. Your participation this year may be the spark that impacts a child's life. I say all the time, if I had to do it again, I would be a pediatrician, because I met my first Black pediatrician 21 years ago when we had our first son. I never saw a Black doctor growing up. So your influence matter, your time matter, your time with them may be that image of, wow, I can do that. I can be a marketer, I can be an engineer, I can be an HR professional, whatever your field is. The time that you spend with these individuals, these children, will give them a window to reality. So I'm just so happy to know that these types of programs are continuing to going on. The fact that you're making an impact to these children, and you may think, oh, it's just an hour a week or an hour a month or whatever you commit, but that hour means a lot. It certainly meant a lot to me. And now I return that effort, so much so all the kids that I coached AAU basketball are all off in college. My own son is at the Naval Academy, and I know the recruiter told me all the time, if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have even looked at him, right? It takes, good parenting to be allowed to go to the Naval Academy. So I'm super proud of him. My middle son is at Cincinnati State for culinary arts. and then my youngest son is a junior in high school. And they're doing exactly the same thing, giving back, to big brothers, big sisters, or other communities, because they see that I do it and have done it over the years. So again, I employ you to take full advantage of this opportunity that you have with these young people. Enjoy the moment. It's going to seem like a blink. And then one day you're going to be at a store and a kid going to walk up to you. They're going to be behind the register. I've had this happen a ton of times. And they say, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I'll say, "No, I'm sorry, I don't." Say, "I was in YMCA Black Achievers and you were one of our teachers back in 2000, whatever." And they tell me their journey from that interaction with me and now where they are today, are all off in college and things of that nature. So again, take full advantage of this opportunity that you have with these young people. You are being the spark. And again, I certainly thank the Kate and the rest of the team for giving me the opportunity to just kind of tell you my story and my interaction with programs like this and how it allowed me to go from where I was to where I'm at today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rafael. We really appreciate you being able to join us. I see a lot of people reaching for those reactions, and I'll echo that with a virtual applause. Really appreciate you being with us this morning, you giving of your time for our fall symposium and sharing your story so authentically. I think your message is one that we hope you all carry into the classroom this fall, that you may not be there in person, but you are making a difference, whether it be virtual or with your recordings or with your messaging that will happen through pen paling. The students need all of us this year. They need that interaction, and we have a unique opportunity to do that together. So thank you, Rafael. Well, it is time to wrap up our session this morning. I can't believe this has gone this quickly. It seems like we just started, but we're so grateful to have you all here today with us. And we hope that this first symposium session provided you with greater insights into how this year of Adopt a Class will work in practice. We appreciate your flexibility, your patience, and how engaged you've all been as we plan and prepare for this incredible school year. We wanted to send you off with a few announcements and next steps so that you and your teams are ready to go for this first mentoring session in October. The first thing to note is that Adopt a Class will be sending the safety and security agreement, which must be completed and returned to us prior to your first mentoring session. These will arrive in the team lead emails in the coming days. Please make sure to read the safety agreement and carefully fill out all of the relevant contact information so that we can keep you and your team up to date with all of our communications throughout the year, including our monthly adopter newsletter that'll be coming soon. Adopt a Class will be extremely high touch with our communication this year to make sure you have everything you need to make it a successful school year. Don't hesitate to reach out to any of us if you have any questions, if you need additional information, or if you just want to brainstorm. We're happy to help and walk you through thoughts and lessons that might be of assistance. With that being said, please reach out to your teachers if you haven't already to begin planning your mentoring sessions for this year. Unless we have reached out to you, you're matched with the same teacher you had last year. So please begin reaching out to them to schedule your sessions for the year and to discuss activities, ideas, and including opportunities to drop off materials, snacks, or donations if your team chooses. Once you have your visits planned, don't forget to log them as you do each visit in the Mentor Tracker. This Mentor Tracker is available on our website at aacmentors.org. The information you provide in the Mentor Tracker is incredibly useful and necessary for our continued growth and success. The Mentor Tracker is instrumental in understanding our impact and providing you with specific details about your team, your classroom, and contributions during the year. At the end of this week, Adopt a Class will be following up with a replay of today's recorded session. Please share the recording with any of your fellow team members who are unable to attend the training. If you need trainings for new team members, feel free to reach out to Kate or to any of us, and we'll make sure we get them scheduled for you. We will also be following up with that adopter newsletter in the next couple weeks. Each month, we will send out our adopter newsletter with information regarding AAC news, icebreaker ideas, lesson ideas, discussion prompts, events, training opportunities, and many more resources to help you plan successful mentoring sessions. So be on the lookout for our first newsletter coming soon, and stay tuned for exciting information later this fall on virtual pen pal opportunities. Thanks for your time this morning, and have a great start to your year.